You've spent decades mastering your craft. You are the expert in the room, the one with the technical answers and the proven track record. But have you ever felt like your voice doesn't quite match your expertise? Maybe you're great in one to one meetings. Put you in front of a room of half a dozen or more people, or let alone on stage, or when it comes to meeting with a very important client, you start overthinking every word. I want to tell you, you're not alone. Many professionals believe that technical competence should speak for itself. But here's the trick: there's a link that's missing between being an expert and being a leader. And what I want to talk about today is that critical transition from internal control to external connection. If you are detail oriented, analytical, your natural instinct is to control the situation. You bring 50 slides to a 20-minute meeting because you want to be prepared. Here's the paradox. When your focus is not entirely when your focus is entirely on not getting it wrong, you're actually monitoring yourself instead of your audience. This internal focus narrows your attention. You're thinking, oh, am I sounding salesy? Am I rambling? You're in your head when you need to be in the room with the people you're speaking to because it's about the energy you're creating. Now, I know control feels safe, but it can be actually a barrier to trust. I often hear from clients that they're not a natural speaker or they lack charisma. That's the challenge. Presence isn't a personality trait. Charisma, well, yes, some people have it naturally. You can build that connection because you're self regulating internally first and then taking that and expanding it outward. So you need to understand what it is to control yourself and let go of anxiety, or really make anxiety your friend, and avoid rushing, avoid over explaining. When you are calm and prepared on the inside, that is going to translate to your audience connecting with you. So get out of your head and into your body is really what I want to share with you. Because no matter what this is saying up here, it's a connection here in your gut that you want to make happen to connect with your audience. You want to be able to, quote unquote, read the room. And that requires preparation on the inside, but also preparation on the outside. Understanding that quizzical faces may mean people have a question. They may just be thinking about what you're saying. And so you want to be able to have checkpoints in your presentation and learn to master this idea of how do I connect and understand what's going on in my with my audience. Because when you shift your focus outward, once your self-regulation is reliable, your attention can expand. You start to notice where people are nodding their head, when people are maybe scratching their head and wondering, I'm not sure. So, one of the things I want to share with you is a client that recently had this experience, and she was presenting to a very important client. Their board was meeting to decide on the decision that would they go with her company or somebody else's company. And she, of course, had a beautiful slide deck put together. And she was halfway through her presentation when she realized she didn't think the audience was tracking with her. And so she took a bold step. She turned off her PowerPoint and asked a question. Simply said, I'm wondering if what I'm sharing with you is the right information, if it's really where you're headed with your organization. Let's dialogue about that. And because she was willing, number one, to take that risk, but she read the room, she could tell that people were not necessarily interested in her slides. They wanted to know if her organization could really serve their needs. And the only way that she could do that was when she stopped presenting and started connecting. That is the tricky part. And when you really begin to shift from putting on an act to aligning your message and your energy, it's going to make a big difference. So here's my challenge for you this week. Stop overthinking. Not to say you can't be prepared, because you should be prepared. You should know where you're headed and have practiced and gotten yourself set up for success. But begin to pay attention to what's happening in the room. And are people tracking with you? And if you don't think they are, being willing to stop and ask the question and have a dialogue instead of a performance. That's all for now. Wishing you much success. See you next time.